Welcome, everyone. So today we are going to do a virtual and live property tour of Morton Grove. Okay, 9028 Linder, Morton Grove. Phil, do me a favor. Could you please show the pictures of the property? They're already in Redfin. So we listed the property today. So now let's start with step by step. How did we find the property? So this is off market, and Sylvia, who is on the line, found the property. Sylvia, can you tell us how you found the property, please? She is part of the wholesale inner circle group. So if you can please share with the group how you came in touch with the owner, what they were looking for, and how things came about to get this property on the contract.
Hi, Hugo. Sorry, I'm coming from the city. I mean, I live in Morton Grove, but I'm coming from church, and I am driving, so I apologize for the noise that you may hear.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Thank you for joining, Sylvia.
Yeah, I am actually I'm going to go in person also, if it's okay.
Yeah, of course. That's absolutely awesome.
So, yes, one evening, as I was looking for properties for sale by owner and Zillow, I see this property, and it says it was 2 minutes after the owner had listed the property. And I called him right away. He said, I don't have any pictures yet. I will get some pictures in a little while so you can see. And I asked him if it was possible to see the property. He told me that he wasn't going to be showing the property in the next couple of days because he needed to do some cleanup, that it was so messy. And I said, it's okay, I understand. Can you please let me know as soon as you're ready to show the property? And the next day he texted me and he said, if you don't mind the mess, you can come and see the property anytime. So I made the appointment to go see the property the following day because that day was already late. It was like 6:30, so I didn't want to go bother him around dinner time because he told me him and his family were still living in the property. And I made the appointment with him to go see the following day. And I went to see the property. I talked to him, and he mentioned to me why he was selling due to his health issues he has, and that's how I started the negotiation. And I think most everybody knows the rest.
So when you said you started the negotiation, can you tell us more? What exactly was the owner looking for? And then what was his motivation? As you mentioned, health-wise, but what was his time frame and motivation? And obviously, if you can go in more details on the negotiation for the price, that would be great.
Okay. So when I found the property listed on Zillow, he was asking $265, I believe, $265. When I went to talk to him and we started talking, and I believe for what I saw in the garage mainly was my main concern, because even he mentioned to me that he had tried before to get it fixed, and they told him that it had to be a tear down, the whole garage, and they wanted to charge him $35,000. And he mentioned to me he needed to sell the property quick because he has heart failure, and him and his family were gonna move to California. It was doctor recommendation that he will go to I guess a more stable or warm climate. So that was his motivation. He wanted to just be done and not have to worry about to be showing the property and back and forth. He just wanted to be done.
Okay, perfect. And and then you set up the appointment, you met with him, and then you and I spoke, and boom, we got it on the contract. So what was he looking for to begin with, number-wise?
Number-wise, yeah. So number-wise, like I said, he was looking for 265, and talking to him, I was mentioning to him, and he was aware that, like I mentioned about the garage, and I said, it looks like I'm gonna need to put a lot of money into this property to be able to flip it or rehab it and make a profit. And he said he had received other offers. He had an offer cash for 240. And we just kept talking, and then he told me I also had an offer from a neighbor who is a contractor, and he had offered him 200,000 cash. And he said because this neighbor told him that he was gonna tear the house down and build a bigger house. So I said to him, at the end of the conversation, I said, I really wish I can help you, but I can't see my numbers work if I were to give you, 230, because by that time he had gone down to 230. And we went to the front of the house, and I kept talking to him, and I said, what is your bottom number? What is the bottom number that you have to have in order for us to sign the contract right now? And he said to me, well, there is a lot, a couple blocks from here, an empty lot, he said, and they're asking 220. He said, I think my house is worth at least that. If somebody's gonna come and tear it down, he said, I want at least to get the price for the lot. And he said, I really want you to have this house. I think you're the buyer for this house. And he actually kept saying that to me. And because I mentioned to him I live in Morton Grove and I know the area very well. And he just kept saying that. So I asked him if he would go any lower than 220 than the 220. And he said no, but I'm gonna talk to my wife. And I get back to you. But then I went home. I ran the numbers again. I thought about it, and I believe I talked to Hugo. I mentioned that this person wouldn't go lower than 220. I sent the property to Hugo to get analyzed. And Hugo mentioned that we needed to be at 210 in order to do a wholesale deal. I talked to the owner some more on the phone, and he said, Hugo, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're at the
okay,
property, yeah. So we have a few people. Everyone.
Okay, so
Yeah, we're here.
Uh, Good. So I kept talking, trying to get him low. He wouldn't go lower. In a whole week went by, and he texted me again, and he said we are getting ready to actually um, list the property with an agent. I said to him, I wish you the best luck. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get what you're looking for, considering that you would have to pay the agent fees and all the closing costs. And he said, I know, I understand why I'm texting you, hoping that you have an offer for me.
So
Do
thank
you
you,
still hear
Sylvia.
me,
So
Hugo?
yeah, we can hear you. So we're at the property. So as you all heard, Sylvia was able to negotiate 220. So all we did was to meet with the owner, and then we put it in writing. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's go in. So this is the outside, and then as you can see, we did some landscaping in the property. Come on in, everyone. This is like the foyer. So in here, what we did is we did the flooring right here, and then we're gonna walk inside the property. Yeah, exactly, it's marble. So in here, what we did is it already had the hardwood floors. So all we did was the refinishing of the hardwood floors. Okay, and then if we come into the kitchen, in here, so we replace the kitchen floor as well. We're updating and putting the electric covers everywhere. We're putting some GFCIs. Now, the kitchen cabinets, these kitchen cabinets were existing, so we didn't change them. All we did was painting, okay? So they were in very good shape and the hardware. The one thing that we did change was the countertop. Yeah, quartz countertop, and then appliances. So we got the fridge, as you can see, it is in the box there. So yeah, exactly, right? Let's install it. So the appliances, and in here, as you can see, is mostly paint. And also what we did is we change all the doors, every single door in the unit. And then also you want to do light fixtures. So I'm going to show light fixtures. If you can turn on the light, that'll be perfect. No, man. But anyway, yeah, maybe try here. So here, exactly. So you always want to do light fixtures, okay? Regardless of the rehab, you always want to do that. Backsplash is very critical. This is not expensive. So materials is going to be $200-300 depending on the size. Exactly. And then let's talk about the expenses, right? So quartz is very critical, and then for the looks, it's gonna be over 1,000. So this was probably 1,400, 1,500, if I'm not mistaken. But that covers both sides, and not only that, but also the vanity countertop. So we're gonna walk over that. You always want to do new appliances, stainless steel appliances. So now let's walk into the boiler room. So this is the switches and outlets. Yes, we always change the outlets because they were sort of dated. So you always want to put new covers. So in here, let me turn on the light. This is the utility room. Okay. So it's just painted. So it's got a new furnace. Okay. So we were very lucky. The furnace is new. The AC is new. The water heater is not new, but it's in working condition. Okay.
Hey, Hugo, how much did you pay for that furnace?
No, we didn't do anything. It was existing. So the owner replaced the furnace. He paid 2,800 for the
Oh,
furnace, but the furnace is new. Great question, Donna. So as you can see, you always want to change doors. So these are the hollow core doors, 6 panels. Okay, for the doors. No, just the doors. So you always want to do the doors, not the frame. You don't need the frame. Always the doors and the hardware. So that's going to give it a fresh look. So yeah, new doors. You always want to do new doors because they were, 6-panel door. Now let's go inside. This is one of the bedroom. So now the new trending colors is the gray. And then again, you also, once you do the flooring, you have to do the quarter round, which is, the shoe, the quarter round at the bottom. LED light. Okay, so it is very, very bright. So you want a lot of light. And one of the things that this property already had was new windows. So we didn't do anything with the windows. The windows are in excellent shape. So they're brand new windows. Okay, so windows, we don't need to do anything. So this is one of the bedrooms. Let's walk over the next bedroom. So in here, this is not the master bedroom, but this is the second bedroom. Okay, so it's, let me do the light on this one. One of the things that you also want to do is you want to replace all the closet doors. Okay, so these are going to be very inexpensive, and you also have to paint them. Closet doors are very critical, and then paint everything. So again, we're doing LED lights throughout. And then we have the molding in the ceiling, okay?
Hugo, is this central air there?
Yes, central air, absolutely. So when we go out to the property, you're gonna be able to see the condenser, the AC, brand new. So it's in very good shape. Now, I wanna show you the bathroom, okay? So if we can turn on the lights here in the bathroom or everywhere, that'll be great. So let me get the lights. Okay, so this is the bathroom. Now for the bathroom was done by the owner. Okay, so it's a brand new bathroom. The only thing that we did was to replace the vanity. So this is brand new, and then the vanity countertop matches the kitchen. Okay, so because it used to have a pedestal. So this gives it a better look. But again, we painted the bathroom, the ceiling. That's all we did. So we didn't do anything to the floor. We didn't do anything else. But the GFCI, the lamp, exactly. So we put less than $1,000 in the bathroom. So we're very lucky on that one. So now let's walk into this third bedroom. Third bedroom. So all the bedrooms are about 8 by 10 or so. Okay, so now let's take a walk outside. Let me see. So this is a closet right here. Let me do this so you guys can all see. Perfect. Okay, so let's take a walk outside. Okay, so the siding was in very good shape.
That's kind of a cool feature.
Yeah, the siding, this had a lot of, I would say, mold. So we power washed.
I remember when you guys were first showing.
Yeah, when we first showed the property, it had a lot of mold. So we power washed. Yeah, it came out, it looks brand new.
Yeah, it does.
Brand new. So they did a great job. Now we did, so this used to be like a jungle here. So we did some landscaping also in the back. And then we had to paint the fascia in the house because it was just scraping out. And then as you can see, the AC, the condenser right there is brand new. Brand new. So we didn't have to do anything with it. It was brand new. Now, most of the work also was in the garage. These, do you guys remember how it used to look? So
Yes.
we're gonna replace that window. Okay, that's the only thing that we have left. We need to replace the window. And then what we did is, we did the siding. The roof we didn't touch, but this looked horrible. So what we did is we matched the color of the garage to the house. Yeah, so let's walk around the garage. So we put a new door right here. This is all new siding. Um, and then we put in a new garage door that matched. We also fixed the concrete. So there's still some garbage we need to remove. But in here, we have to fix the concrete right there. So we're gonna go inside the garage. Okay, so we are inside the garage. So we have a brand new door. That's about 1,500 for the door. And in here, what we did is we removed some kitchen cabinets in the bottom, and then the garage had a lot of damage inside in the ceiling. So this is where we spent a lot of time fixing the frame of the garage. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there were a bunch of holes everywhere. So yeah, we're gonna get rid of this garbage, but yeah, brand new door. This is installed with the remote and everything. 1,000, 1,000. Yeah, yeah. The door is 600, as Robert said, but with the mechanism, the motor, everything, and installed exactly. So we had to fix the here. It's all fixed up because there were a lot of cracks just to level everything up in the garage. Exactly. So it's new patchwork on the floor. So we're gonna get rid of all this junk tomorrow. That should all be out. Yeah, exactly. You can store. Yeah, this is for storage up there in the garage.
Yeah, it was way better than I remember the videos.
Yeah, right. So, and then we also fixed that on the side of the property that used to be very damaged outside of the side door. So we fixed that up. The question was to remove it or to leave it. So we ended up fixing it. So let me show you right here. So this is all totally fixed up. As you can see, the siding, it's all power washed. It's all clean. Yeah. Are there any questions so far on the line?
I have a question, Hugo.
Yes,
Um,
Rebecca.
what is the situation with this house? Did Sylvia find it and then wholesale it to someone? So who's the actual owner now?
So Sylvia found the property. She negotiated with the owner. Then she sent it to Dealvolt. And then I personally came after she gave me the lead, the phone number, everything, all the contact information. She put me in touch with the owner. So it was just very easy, right? Because we knew that his bottom line was 220. So I came, I met with both the owners, the husband, the wife, and then I got her on the contract for 220. So that was how this property got purchased by Home First Realty. Now we didn't wholesale this property because it needed very little work. Okay, as you can see, the work was not extensive. It took us 3.5 weeks to do it. Okay, so super fast. So then this was a candidate for a hotel deal. What it means is that instead of wholesaling it for an assignment fee of maybe 5,000 to 10,000, then you actually need to purchase the property, do the rehab, and then put it on the market. So in fact, we just put it on the market today for $299. Okay,
Okay, thank
so
you.
no problem. Are there any other questions on the line?
Hugo, I thought it was going to be put on the market for more money.
So we did the CMA because there's another property nearby that it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that is listed like for 340 or so. So the objective is to get multiple offers. Okay, so that's the objective. And
Okay.
then I know there's some buyers that have a limit, so they don't want to have properties over 300,000. So we could have listed it above that, but then we're gonna miss out. So we rather put it very attractive to hopefully get multiple offers very quickly.
Yeah, because this is the one that the house across the street was like almost 400.
Exactly. The property across the street is listed for 450,000, but that's a 5-bedroom.
Right.
Yeah, the one with the basement. So this one doesn't have a basement. So this is built on a slab. The other one does have a basement. It's got two bedrooms, 3 bedrooms on the first floor, and 2 bedrooms in the basement.
Okay.
Yes, great question.
Hugo, what's the paint color you used? That's a nice color. You know what
Okay,
color?
so yes, Shirley is asking about the color. So great question. There's a code for that color. It's a gray color. I can look that up, Shirley, because it's a trending color. The gray with the dark flooring. But I looked that up for you, Shirley.
Thank you.
So Hugo, the rehab that you did, what was the total of the rehab? It looks like a pretty good conservative rehab.
Okay, so the question is, how much was the rehab? So everyone, so can you guys make a guess? Just go by everything we did, right? So the first thing, this is a question for all of you. When I ask you how much is going to be the rehab, most of you saw the property before. So the first thing that you need to pay attention is kitchen and bathroom. That's where your money is going to go. If you're doing a brand new bathroom, it's no less than $6,000. Brand new kitchen is going to be close to $10,000. Here, we're not, right? So the bathroom was new, but we updated the vanity only. For the kitchen, we just painted the kitchen cabinets, put the quartz countertop and new appliances, plus the flooring. And then we refinished the flooring, the paint. So paint for a property like this, how much do you guys think is gonna be? 3,000, anybody else?
1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on the patching, that's a great point. Depending on the patching, but you're gonna hit 35 to 4,000. That includes materials. Okay, so it's labor and materials, because they need to paint not only the walls but the ceiling, and then they need to do the quarter round. So that is why painting is gonna hit 35, 4,000 at least for a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. So 35, 2,000. Now you can pay like we less than that if they do only one coat. Okay, so that's going to be very important. The quality of the paint. So rather to have always 2 coats of something, you've got to specify with the GC. I want to make sure that you do 2 coats, because they can get away with 1 coat and they charge you $2,500. But guess what? The quality is not going to be there, especially if you're going to flip it or sell it. It doesn't make sense. So for paint, you need to account for at least 35 to 4,000. So how much will the rehab is going to be? Remember the garage, siding all around, a new door, patching inside, drywall. So what would you say the whole overall rehab amount was?
Maybe 25.
22. How much on the line?
25. 25.
25.
10 grand.
20 to 25.
10 grand.
25 to 30.
Rob said 40, 30. You
I'm
guys are
saying
very
30,000 to 35,000.
30
You go
to 35,000.
Continue
Oh,
straight onto
David said 10,000. You guys see right now, 10,000. No, that's too little. Um, so the budget was 28,000. Okay, and then we stayed within budget. We didn't go over budget. We just barely made it. So 28,000. And then as far as time-wise, how much would you estimate this type of project should take? 6 weeks, four, 5. Yeah, we did it in 3.5. 3.5, 3.5, 4 weeks. Yeah. So yeah, the guys, but there were 3 guys. Okay, 3 guys working in the property. That's the key. If you have 2 guys, it's gonna take over a month. You need to have 3 guys. Yeah, that's the key. You've got to have at least 3 people to complete this very, very fast. So the key is buy it, rehab it fast, and then put it in the market as soon as possible.
Hugo, what did you do with a sliding door? Remember once
Oh, the sliding door. Yes, Shirley's asking about the sliding door here in the foyer. So we replaced the glass.
Oh, that's nice.
So let me show you. So this was broken, so now we just replace the glass. So it's in working condition. The question was to remove it, exactly, to remove it or leave it, but the opinion was to leave it. So that's what we did with the sliding door.
Yeah, Hugo, what company did you use to do the power washing? They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, the power wash was awesome. So we work with Elena Rodriguez. She does roofing and the siding, and then she had somebody do the power wash for us. It was a few hundred. I believe it was close to 400, 450 to do the entire power wash, especially on this side. This side was green, totally. It looked awful.
Yeah, I
And then
remember
the landscaping is important. Say that again?
Yeah, I remember because I'm looking at it. It's a phenomenal job she did.
Yeah, no, they did an amazing job. So we just have
Hugo,
minor
how much
details that
was the
we're gonna
power wash?
like
This
450.
Valerie. How much was the power wash, Hugo?
450. Just to rent the machine, it's about 120, 150. So yeah, for labor, yeah, to do the entire house, everything that was dirty needed to be power washed. So 450. But so the question is, how close is this to put it on the market? We put it today, this morning. This morning, we just put it on the market for $299. Yes,
Did you say it
Donna.
was 450 for the power wash?
What's the question, Donna?
I said, did you say it was 450 for the power wash?
Yeah, 450 for the power wash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the key is to put it on the market as soon as possible and sell it. Are there any other questions on the line?
So, Hugo,
Yes.
how long do you think this is probably going to take to sell? It should probably sell real quick because this is like a red hot deal right here.
Exactly. This is a very hot neighborhood. Morton Grove, it's an A+ neighborhood. Schools are 9 and 10. I mean, they're amazing. So this is a great starter home for a family with children. Would be perfect. They don't need anything else.
Hugo, how much did you spend for landscaping or cleanup outside?
So the question is how much for landscaping? Guys, can you make a guess for landscaping? So we did the front, it was landscape, the bushes. Back there used to be like a jungle next to the garage. Trim the bushes, clean up. How much do you guys estimate for landscaping? 1,500. Anybody else?
I say 1,200.
Exactly, 1,200. That was 1,200 for landscaping. Yeah, absolutely, that's correct. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get some offers and then sell it very quickly. Are there any other questions? Oh yeah, Rebecca has a question, and then Rob.
That oversaw everything that had to be done, or were you giving it out piecemeal to a landscaper and a painter and so on?
Okay, so what's the question again? Let me make sure I understand.
The question is, did you have a
Yes.
GC that was over
Yeah.
all of the systems? Or were you hiring a landscaper and hiring a painter and so on?
Oh yeah, no, we hire specialists. So we hire a landscaper, and I just told him just make sure that it looks super clean, go all around the property, make it look brand new. And then
So
the same for the
you
painter. Yeah, we
GC'd
just hire
yourself?
people. Say that again.
You GC'd it yourself?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because we know the right people for the job, so we hired a lot of people to do certain things. There, like for instance, there's one guy that does all he does is the flooring. Another crew does the painting. Another crew does the siding. Another crew does the power wash. Another crew does the flooring. Another crew does the countertops. So different people do different things. So I just make phone calls to get people in the property as soon as possible.
Oh,
Do
you
you
didn't hire a
suggest
truck and a
that
truck,
we
right?
always GC our own properties,
Okay, this
or
is
that
a
we should
great
hire
question,
G?
guys. This is a great question. Rebecca is asking, should you GC your own projects? And the answer, what would you think the answer is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not if you don't have a license. What else? Not if you don't have the experience. So this is how we do it, and that has worked amazingly well. If it's a small project like this one, I think we can do it, right? Because this didn't require any permits, no permits whatsoever, right? For what we did, it shows basic remodeling. However, if you're gonna do a project where you need to pull permits, like for electric, for plumbing, HVAC, roof, windows, at that point, you need to step back. You have to have a GC because guess what? The permits are going to be pulled under the GC's license, so you have no business. So this is a super light rehab. It doesn't make sense to bring a GC because we're not gonna leverage from his license, his insurance at all. So we're just gonna overpay for it. The cost is gonna go over. However, projects that go over 30,000 most likely are gonna need plumbing licenses, electric licenses, windows, roof, HVAC. Then at that point, I don't want to deal with the project. Then we bring in the GC and then say, pull all the permits up front that are required. The GC can get the permits much easier and quicker than we can. Exactly. So they're saying they can get the permits and the crews right on site very quickly. So yeah, great question. If the rehab is less than 25,000, sure you can do it so long there are no permits to be pulled. So that's the key. That's a great question. Nobody has ever asked that question, and it's super important. Great question, Rebecca.
How much does it cost to paint the kitchen cabinets?
To paint the kitchen cabinets is about $1,000, and the paint for the kitchen cabinets is super expensive. The gallon is about 125 for some reason. Say that again. I think it's Benjamin Moore. Benjamin Moore. I think he has the best paint for kitchen cabinets, but it's a special paint and it's super expensive. So yeah, that is why to paint the kitchen cabinets they need to look like brand new. So it's about $1,000 just for the kitchen cabinets.
That includes material as well?
Say that again.
The $1,000 includes material?
No, $1,000 is just the labor, and then plus the materials. So doing the kitchen cabinets is going to be about 1,200. But
Okay.
we're saving a lot. If we were to buy the kitchen cabinets brand new, it'll be no less than 3,000. So that is why we're cutting the cost by less than half by painting the cabinets. And the question is, do you need to buy new ones if you can reuse these ones? So exactly, if it's solid. Hey, David, how are you doing? Welcome. So here we have the VIP of wholesaling, David Myers. David Myers. Oh, your son? Awesome. Yeah, we have a great crew here outside. Are there any other questions? Oh, Rob, you had a question.
Yeah, Hugo, you said you're putting on the market today,
Yes.
but yet a few of the items are still outstanding. I didn't catch what you said. You're going to do those windows on the garage, right?
Yes.
So if somebody came today, you just have to explain that away, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in fact, just before we came in, one of the crews left. So they're gonna come back and they're gonna finish those items because
I didn't catch what you said about the inside. Are you keeping the washer and dryer or replacing them?
no, keeping the washer and dryer. It's in good shape. Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah, but absolutely, we need to finish up the minor items that we saw, like missing the plates for the outlets and the GFCI.
I have a question, Hugo.
Yes,
The
go
question
ahead.
is about the electrical work. You said you changed the fixtures and the wall outlets. That's all you did on electrical work?
That's it. Yes.
Okay.
So for that, you don't need a permit. But the minute you open up the wall to change let's say from Romix to hard pipe, then you do need a permit for that. Or when you start changing the pipes from location wise, or replacing, let's say, from PVC to copper, then you're gonna need a permit. So we're not doing any of that. So that is why it's very very easy and fast to complete the project. Because when you pull a
Any
permit, you need to wait for the village to issue the permit. Then you need to have an inspection after the work is complete from the village. So then the project gets delayed a little bit longer.
Were there any plumbing work that needed to be done in there?
No plumbing work, zero plumbing work. Just when we change the vanity in the bathroom, the faucet in the bathroom, faucet in the kitchen. So super light plumbing work.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Hugo.
Hugo, how much was the property taxes?
Oh, so there's a question here. Let me answer this question. What's the question again?
Way to evaluate the plumbing and the electrical to see if you might need permits.
Okay, so the best way to yes, so the best way to evaluate whether you need plumbing or electric work, super simple. So for plumbing, check the water pressure. If the water pressure is low, guess what? Most likely you have the old um, galvanized pipe that builds residue, okay, from the salt. So the water pressure is awful. You've got to replace the piping with copper piping or PVC. Other is if you have leaks, right? That's another sign that you may need to do some plumbing work. And then as far as electric, you are going to notice some villages do not allow the flexible pipe. So you need to have the hard pipes. So the Romex is not allowed in many villages. So you can see that if you see the outlets super dated, built 30, 40 years ago, most likely you're gonna need some electric work. But you can also check in the panel. If the service panel, right, has the switch breaker, switch breakers dated, then you might need some electric work. If the lights sometimes go off, that's a sign that you're overloading certain areas. So there are many easy signs that you can tell. But if everything is functional and you have light everywhere, then you just need to make sure that you have GFCIs. That's important.
Getting into it, whether it's Romax or stuff like that.
Exactly.
Hugo,
There was
I have
another
a
question
question.
online. Yes.
I know you said that. So if you open, like, let's say a wall because it had just to put back, like, nozzles and stuff, like, let's say a piece was broken, do you have to have a permit for that too?
If there's a broken one.
I couldn't hear it either. That's sorry asking about if you open a wall because of. I couldn't hear what you said.
Yeah, no, if you open up a wall, no, you don't need a permit unless you're going to do like extensive work, like replacing from Romex to hard pipe, then of course you do need electric permit. But if you're just replacing the outlets, the plates, GFCIs. No, you don't need a
No,
permit for
no,
that.
this is related to plumbing. Like let's the property that I worked on, we had to change the nozzles, and when the contractor or the guy went in to change them, he put like he caused a leak, and he fixed all that. But I wouldn't think I needed a permit for that if I just needed to pull the nozzles and fix them, right? Because one of the pipes was
Right.
taken off. Okay, I just wanted to check.
Yeah, no,
Thank
you don't need a permit for that. Great questions. Are there any other questions that you can think of?
You finishing that gutter?
Yes, yeah, they're gonna come back and they also clean the water, the gutters, but they're gonna put the downspout. Yeah, there's a downspout that we're putting in right there. Yeah, so they're gonna come back, do the GFCIs, the downspout, the window, and the cleanup in the garage, like today.
How much are the property taxes, Hugo?
Property tax is about 5,500, so it's not too bad for the location.
Hugo, what kind of a profit are you hoping to make on this net?
Great question. What kind of profit are we thinking? So all in 250. If we put it on the market for 300, so it's 50,000. But you need to take into account closing costs, right? Because we need to pay the buyer's commission. In this case, we're selling the property, so we're not paying somebody to list it. So we just need to pay the buyer's agent. So 2.5 plus closing costs. It's gonna be like 3.5% commission. So 3% of 300,000 is like 9,000 or so. So let's assume 10,000. So we have how much? 40,000 left.
Profit. Okay.
Okay with that spread turnover. It wouldn't be for rental. It wouldn't be 25%, right?
Okay, so the question is
That is that private lenders accept that level of profit or a flip, considering that you aren't going to be refinancing it at the end and needing to have.
so the question is this an acceptable profit return for a private money lender? Yes. So now the question is funding. Let's talk about funding. So funding to buy these type of properties, the only way that you can fund this is through private money lenders, okay? Because we needed to close in like 10 days. If you use a hard money lender, that's going to take a little bit longer, maybe 2-3 weeks. But with private money lenders, very fast. So the agreement that we have, as you know, from if you're part of the Cash Flow Secret group, we have a group of lenders that have pledged money to fund your deals. So this is an example of one of the deals. So they're gonna fund the deal, but there are two ways. If they fund the deal for you to keep the property, for instance, it's just a regular loan, right? 12% interest rate, 2 points, origination, and a 6-month term. But this was a joint venture agreement. So there's no cost of money, but we're going to go 50-50 on the net profit. So if the net profit is, let's say, 40,000, then we go 20,000 and 20,000. Does that make sense? So usually when you do joint venture agreements, one partner is going to bring the deal, manage the rehab, and sell the property. And the other partner is going to fund the transaction.
But is
So
that
yeah,
is that net profit after you guys pay everything off and everything is done?
yes.
Is
So
that what?
we're taking into account like 3.5% closing expenses. That's about 10,000. So the net proceeds will be somewhere in the 40,000. So now let me give you the other scenario. If you were to pay for the cost of money, if somebody was to give you a loan for 250,000, what's the cost of that? Let me give you the numbers. At 12%, 2 points. So 1 point is 1% of the total loan amount. So if they charge 2 points, what's 2 points or 2% of 250,000? That's just 5,000 when you close on the property, when you purchase the property. And then what's 1% of 250,000 every month? 2,500. So at least if you hold on to the property for 1 month, so right now it's been almost a month, it's 2,500 every single month. So let's assume that we get an offer, but they're gonna use conventional financing, so it's gonna close maybe in 30, 45 days. So at least you might run into 2, 3 months. So what's the cost of 3 months for the money? 7,500, 7,500 plus the 5, that's $12,500. Just the cost of money, right? But in this case, if we finish the transaction all in 3 months, then the funder, our funding partner, is going to get, instead of 12,500, they're going to get 20,000. Does that make sense? So it's very appealing. So that answers your question. Is this an acceptable profit? So they will either make between 12,500 or 15, or maybe 15,000, but instead they could make 15,000 when we sell the property. And there's no risk for them, right? Because we treat this as a loan. When they fund the transaction, there's a lien on the property by them, right? So the money is secured. Insurance, they're the beneficiary. If something was to happen to the property today, then yeah, they're covered, right? So their money is secure. That's how you do joint venture agreements. Yeah, they need to feel comfortable. They need to have trust in what you're doing. So the quicker the rehab is, the less the risk, right? So those are the properties that you need to focus on. Spend the time finding properties that are in good location and that don't require a gut rehab, right? Because gut rehabs will just, the risk is just going to exponentially go through the roof. The minute you have to do a gut rehab, then you need to pull permits for electric, plumbing, HVAC, roof, windows. And then when you do a lot of rough electric or plumbing work, then you have two types of inspection: the rough plumbing and the finished plumbing, and then the rough electric and then the finished electric. So they won't let you do the entire electric work until you finish the rough electric. They come back, they inspect, so just it delays the project, and then the cost goes through the roof.
Sometimes I was working on a job and the inspector's in there. He's like, man, if you open up any more walls, I might find something in there. He's like, if I see it, I'm gonna make you fix it, and it could be a $30,000 structure.
Exactly. So right. So what they're saying is that if you open up more walls and they find out, they're gonna find more stuff. Yeah, exactly. Are there any other questions? So we talked about purchase price. I mean, we talked about how this came about. So this was a piece that Sylvia found. She negotiated with the owner 220,000. Okay, and then we talked about the rehab, right? 28,000. We talked about the sale price, 300,000. We talked about funding, the cost of money that you need to take into account. Also, utilities and taxes are part of the cost of money. Utilities is going to be maybe 120 a month or so, so it's not much. Yeah, Rob.
You mentioned the example of borrowing money from we'll just say conventionally, but how much did you borrow privately?
So the question is, how much did we borrow for this transaction? It's a great question. Make a guess. Exactly. So 250,000. That's how much we borrowed.
Is that an acceptable profit for the money lender? Only 20,000.
It is, because that's what he's going to get. Right. So because if they were to lend that money, instead of sitting in their bank account, if they were to lend that money for 3 months, they would make 12,500. But instead, in 3 months, they can make 20,000. So it's more appealing for them to do this type of joint ventures, for sure. Right? Now, the question is, why should we not borrow the money instead and giving up more of the profit? Speed. What else? Lower risk because of the speed. Exactly. That's
take longer,
if you were to take longer.
it would save you money, and you would then be both bear the cost of the extra money if you had a problem.
Exactly. Speed, exactly. So that was perfect. Your explanation. If you run into any hiccups, any issues, right? Guess what? You're gonna be dropping 2,500 every single month, right? And that could eat you up like very quickly. So instead, it's sort of like an insurance policy, right? You as the money person are gonna make more money, but it's okay, right? Because then at the end of the day, we're minimizing our risk and you're maximizing your return by doing this type of joint venture, especially that the location is good, the rehab is minor, right? So we're just trying to minimize risk and maximize return. That's what we always focus on. We're not in to make a lot more money, right? We just want to be in and out as soon as possible, steady, exactly, with as little risk as possible for all parties, not only for us, for all parties, right? So that is why money that is lent needs to be secured with a first position lien, with insurance, a promissory note.
As well too. I mean, that was great.
Yeah, for the seller, exactly, the seller. It was a win-win for the seller. He had a hard. I mean, let me tell you, when I pulled over, and then I saw this guy brooming the outside, I thought he was the son, because Sylvia had told me that he had a failure condition of like heart failure condition. So, but he called my name and said, Hugo. I said, Jan. I couldn't believe it. He was in his 30s. So, just by meeting him, it was like, man, I'm gonna see how I can help you. What is it that you need? Where do we need to be? I was not gonna like beat him, to get a lower price. You need to move fast, right? Because of your health condition. 220. I mean, technically, the numbers that we use and the formulas that we use, paying 220 for this property might have been too much. In fact, that's what I told Celia. It's kind of too much. But when I saw his health condition, right? The fact that he was very young with two kids and a wife, it's not all about money, right? It's about helping other people, giving a hand to somebody else. So that's what we're here, right? For. And you'll become wealthy when you help other people. We're in the business of people, right? We're providing a house, a product for somebody to live with their family. So that made me just, where do you need to be? I mean, we're not going to be making the profit we would typically make, but we're helping a family move in 2 weeks where they need to be for him to be healthy again. So that has no price. Does that make sense? Yes.
You're constructing that relationship.
I have a question, Hugo.
You said that normally you pay a point and then you pay 12% every month. Did they forego that? And they just, now they're on the back end, they're just taking half of whatever the profit.
Yes. So the question, correct. So Joey's asking a question. Joey's asking, are you still paying interest points on the money? No. So because we're splitting the profit, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you're not paying points, you're not paying interest because you're splitting the profit. Rebecca, you had another question. Rebecca? Any other question? Rebecca, you had a question for us?
Did you unmute it?
Oh, no, I'm not muted. Go for it, Rebecca.
Do you have a certain profit margin that you're looking for when you're analyzing a property? Like you want to make a 20% profit margin or else it's not worth it?
Yes. You guys are asking the right questions. I'm so happy. So what's the minimum profit you should consider when doing a flip? Super simple, 20%. So when you sell a property for 300,000, what's 20% of that? 60,000. So you should be making 60,000 on a flip when you sell it for 300,000. So the rule of thumb is 20%. Other than that, it's not worth it. But in this case, we made an exception because of the condition of the seller and also because it didn't need much work, right? So there were two factors into account that made us say, okay, let's not make 20%, let's make maybe 15%, but we help somebody, and then we are in and out, it's safe. So great question, and that is why, let me tell you the formula, remind everyone, when you analyze this deal, how much should you pay for this property? So if we were to analyze this deal on paper, you're going to take the ARV, which is 300,000 times 70%, that's how much? 210. Exactly. 210 minus 28, how much is that? Like 182. The most you should pay for this property would be 182, but yet we pay 220. Why? Because we're not going to make the 20%. So the reason why you multiply the ARV times 70% is because 20% should be your return on the net profit for the flip. 10% is going to be your holding expenses, carrying costs, cost of money, taxes, insurance, utilities. So that is why you multiply that times 70% minus the rehab. So Robbie's right. The most you should pay for these properties should be somewhere in the 180, mid 180s. But we're giving up a portion of the profit in exchange for a live rehab in an amazing location, and most importantly, be able to save somebody's life. So does that sound like a good deal to you? Absolutely. Yeah, so great question, Rebecca.
When you talk about the 20%, you said 20% of the sale price of the house. When
Correct.
I do my analysis, it's 20% of everything I have spent, not what I'm selling the house for. Because you could spend $290,000 and you're not going to make 20% of the sale price. I always do 20% of all my expenses put together.
Oh, I see. But let me tell you, so if I have zero money out of pocket, right? Like in this case, what would I multiply, 20% times what, right? Because I don't have any money stuck in the
No,
deal per se.
it wouldn't be the money that you put in cash. It would be what was paid for the house plus the
What was
holding
paid for the
expense,
house?
plus any financing if you had it. Whatever that comes out to, 20% profit margin.
20%. Okay. So that turns out to be probably less than 20% of the sale of the property.
Well, Rebecca, in your example, are you saying per year, per annum? What's your percentage requirement?
If the house is, if you have spent $50,000 on the house and put another $50,000 into it, whatever you're selling it for, you want to make sure that you're going to make at least 20%. I don't mean like an interest rate per year. I mean, what is your net profit on that deal? However long you held.
Yeah, he's talking, Rebecca, I think he's talking about like before you know all your expenses, the way to just get it off the bat would be doing it by 70%. Then you can, as you go, you can kind of adjust where you're at. But in the beginning, that's how you can make your money quick.
Reason
I didn't hear any of
I
that.
asked that question, Rebecca, about the percentage and the time constraint is you can make 20% on your money, but if it takes you 2 years, what have you gained? So the time factor is an element to the consideration.
That's a great point, Rob. Time factor. So the present value of money, right? Money today is worth more in the future. So that's because that's a big misconception in real estate, that many investors think that the more work, the bigger the rehab, the more money you're going to make, and it's the opposite. The more you do, the more kind of worms you open up, and the higher the risk, and the more you jeopardize your profit. So exactly, because otherwise, think about it, all contractors and construction background people will be extremely wealthy, but that's not the case. The money is in the investing business of in and out, being able to do as many deals successfully as possible during the year.
Oh, you're saying, Hugo, don't, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it?
Exactly, exactly, absolutely.
Hugo, I had another question. You were talking about closing costs. So if you had decided to refinance that, you would need to have a closing cost, not just for when you buy it, but when you're trying to refinance it, right?
Okay, somebody was asking a question on the line. Yeah. Okay, so there were two questions. Zora, can you repeat the question again?
When you were talking about who wants to repeat it? Him or
Oh,
you want,
closing costs, right? You were saying something about closing costs?
right. So when you said that so there's closing costs initially when you buy the property, and let's say you want to refinance it, you'd have to have closing costs as well in your holding money, correct?
Correct.
But because you're flipping it, it's going to be the buyer that pays for the closing costs.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Most of the closing expenses. Now we have another question.
Okay, my question is, when you're getting the loan through the private money lender and you're doing the split as opposed to the financing, individual finance costs, how is the money dispersed for the rehab segment of it?
Okay, so the question is, once you borrow the money from the cash flow in a circle fund, how is the money dispersed? So at closing, the money gets wired from the private money lender onto the title company to pay for the property, and then what's left, then they write out a check that you can obviously deposit into the joint account. Exactly, that would be into the LLC account. So that's a great question. So we open up a separate business checking account for this property, for the rehab, right? So all the monies are accounted for, right? So there's no commingling of other money coming in or coming out. So you have to open up a different or separate checking account just for this project.
For each property, like say if you had two at once, you would have two separate.
Exactly. So yeah,
so there's no
especially if you're doing a joint venture, you've got to have a separate checking account so that you can keep track of all the expenses. Everything is, clear, disclosed.
Do they have to make the separate LLC also? Or?
No, you don't need to create a separate LLC. So the question is, do you need to create a separate LLC? No. So you need to, that's a great question. So you can do a joint venture agreement, but you don't need to create an LLC, because when you create an LLC, it's a lot of overhead because you need to register that with the state, right? You need to file an annual report. You need to pay taxes on the LLC. So you do an LLC when you are going to do many deals with somebody that you know really well, okay? But other than that, if it's just in and out, it's easier to do a joint venture agreement. Great questions, guys. Anybody else? Any questions? No. Okay, guys, so this is Sylvia. So please, guys, give a big round of applause to Sylvia. So that's Sylvia.
Congratulations, Sylvia.
Do you
Yeah.
have any questions for me? I feel like I messed up and I talked before because I was driving.
No, that was very good.
Sylvia, is this your first wholesale deal?
So there's a question for Sylvia. Are you new to wholesale? Is this your first time doing wholesaling, or?
Well, yes and no. I've been in North for a couple of years.
I can give you this. And then...
Can they hear me now? Yeah. So
Yes, I hear you now.
I was saying that it's a little loud for me. I was saying I've been studying and trying to get wholesale deals for the last couple of years.
So what she's saying is that she's been doing and studying, but she started doing wholesale recently. She joined the wholesale group about a few months ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's been doing amazing. She's very active.
Good. Congratulations, Sylvia. Thank you for your info.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, too loud,
Hey,
right?
Hugo.
Yes.
Hugo, I have a question. So when you do the tax return, is the profit also split 50-50?
Yeah, the profit is 50-50, absolutely.
For the tax return?
Oh, the tax return. So the way to do it is we would need to issue like 1099, right? Because otherwise we would pay taxes on the entire amount, which is 40,000. So we would issue a 1099. Great question.
Thank you. Got it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Anybody else? Man, you guys are on fire today.
Hey, Sylvia, what source did you get this lead from?
The question is, what's the source of this lead?
I found it on Zillow.
Zillow.
Did you? We've been looking on Zillow, and it seems like everything we look at is already fully rehabbed, done.
I get updates on my daily search on Zillow every day, and every one of them seems like it's
Yeah, so Zillow is the source. Yeah, many great leads are coming from for sale by owner from Zillow.
Like a potential rehab.
Hey, Phil, can you please put on the chat how people can join the cash flow in a secret group and the wholesale in a secret group? Because we want to make sure that when they join the group, we show them A through Z on how to find these type of properties, how to buy them, rehab them, keep them for a rental or for a flip. So if you can please send via the chat. So guys, you can also send a text to 818-818 with the keyword success, and then you're going to get information about the cash flow and the wholesale in a secret group. So pretty much we meet once a week. It's a mastermind group that we show you, we do deal analysis on properties, just like today. Today, in fact, Sunday 1 p.m. is when we meet with the cash flow in a secret group. So we do the same for the wholesale on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. So if you're not yet part of any of those groups, please send a text to 818-818 with the keyword success and your contact information, and then you'll get a reply right away. Are there any other questions? No further questions on the line? So if no further questions, let me check. Are there any comments or questions on the chat, Rod, that we can answer? Oh, yeah, we answered that one. Is there a new one? Okay. Was Phil able to send the info for the cash flow? Oh, perfect. Thank you, Phil. Okay, so if no further questions, thank you everyone for joining today. I think it was very, very productive, amazing questions, all of you. Thank you for all of you who joined in person today. And then I look forward to seeing you on our next event. Hopefully we're gonna start to do more live events, okay? So that you learn a lot and meet other people. Exactly, so please get to know each other if you can. Take advantage of the in-person opportunity. Like people like Sylvia, David, I mean, he's killing it with wholesale deals. So thank you everyone on the line who joined. This is our first live in-person event. So I look forward to seeing you all in our next event and hopefully in person as well. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Phil, for your help.
Great education, Hugo. Great education.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.